Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. This is going to be my Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel collection video, and it could be a little bit long because Paul Simon would be one of what I would call my heavyweight artists, where I've collected quite a bit on vinyl and on CD. I'm not going to show every single CD, but I'll show the equivalent on vinyl if I have it, and if I don't have a studio album on vinyl, I'll show the CD version, and I'll also show some of the Art Garfunkel solo material, which is not as good, but he always seems to be forgotten about. So let's start. Simon Garfunkel. We started off as Tom and Jerry, and this is excuse me, a good representation of the Tom and Jerry material. This was released in 1967. Tom and Jerry, Tom Graff, Jerry Landis. Tom was Art, Jerry was Paul, and basically what they were a sort of second-rate doo-wop group in the late 50s and very early 60s. So it's okay. This is on the Allegro label. I think in America it was released on the Pickwick, but it's good for the collection just. I'll also show this CD, which is called Two Can Dream Alone, and this is a better representation. This has a full 20 tracks on it, 21 tracks actually, and brings in some of the Tom Graff, Jerry Landis, Artie Garr and Drew Taylor. I think Drew Taylor was Paul Simon as well. Again, it's early 60s, late 50s fluff really. So anyway, first Simon Garfunkel album, Wednesday Morning 3 AM, released in 1963. Half cover versions, half Paul Simon originals. It's okay, it's not great. The cover versions make you run for a tambourine and join the Salvation Army sort of thing, like Go Tell It on the Mountain and Last Night I Had the Strangest Dream. But this does include Bleecker Street, the title track, and the wonderful Sound of Silence, which is an acoustic version. Okay, it didn't do too well, and so Paul Simon went off to England to do the folk circuit, and he recorded this album, the Paul Simon Songbook, which is it's vital because a lot of this material was used for later Simon Garfunkel albums. This is just Paul Simon with an acoustic guitar. I'm a Rock, Leaves That Are Green, April Comes She Will, Sound of Silence, Most Peculiar Man, Kathy's Song, Flowers Never Bend with the Rainfall, Patterns. Those were all recorded for later Simon Garfunkel albums. Now, Columbia or CBS, I think one of the engineers or maybe producer decided to put electric musical backing on the Sound of Silence song from Wednesday Morning 3 AM, and it became a big hit. So they rushed back. Well, he rushed back from England. Art, I think, was in architecture school, I think, and they recorded this album, Sound of Silence. And again, I Am a Rock's on this, Leaves That Are Green, Kathy's Song, all from the Paul Simon Songbook. It also includes Homeward Bound. Now, Homeward Bound didn't feature in the US version, it featured in the next album, but I've always been used to it being on this. All CD reissues have it on the next album, but as I say, this is where I think its home is. This also includes Richard Corey, which Denny Lane sang with Wings during the Wings Over America tour. This is a really good album from 1966. Also in 66 we have Parsley, Sage, Rosemary and Thyme, which my version doesn't include Homeward Bound. The big ones off this are Scarborough Fair, the 59th Street Bridge song, Feeling Groovy, and For Emily, Whenever I May Find Her, Dangling Conversation. Again, this is great, and you have things like Patterns and Flowers Never Bend with the Rainfall, and a simple desultory Philippic, or How I Was Robert McNamara into Submission. Jeez, try saying that. It was also on the songbook, so excellent album. 66. Not quite as electric as the Sound of Silence album. The Graduate soundtrack, 68, used songs from the previous albums, different version of Sound of Silence on this, and a double Scarborough Fair. As it fades out, it fades back in again and the whole song starts. Dave Grusin, I think, yeah, is the guy that does incidental music, and I've never played it. I don't think anybody else has. It's an album I very rarely play. 68 Bookends, excellent album. Side 1 is from birth to death, basically. All the various stages with voices of old people stuck in the middle, which I think I mentioned before. It's just recordings of old folk talking in an old people's home, which is a bit of a waste of space, really. Side 2 is previous singles, like Faking It, At the Zoo, Hazy Shade of Winter, and of course Mrs. Robinson. Punky's Dilemma is also in side 2, which was a rejected song from The Graduate. The Masterpiece in 1970, and this is Bridge Over Troubled Water, and this is absolutely fantastic. I love this. This is probably my second favourite album of all time. Bridge Over Troubled Water, Cecilia, The Boxer, Baby Driver, the absolutely wonderful Only Living Boy in New York. It's a perfect pop album, and it is Paul Simon's masterpiece. This is what introduced me to Simon Garfunkel. My mother had this whenever I was a kid, and it's one of the best greatest hits ever. Simon Garfunkel's greatest hits, and you can get this for peanuts. Okay, now what I will show a few Simon Garfunkel live CDs. This is one from New York City in 1967, which is just the two of them and an acoustic guitar. This is really, really good. And this one here is live in '69, and this previews a lot of the Bridge Over Troubled Water tracks, which is excellent. This is possibly, well, there's another one I really like, probably even more, but this is a fantastic CD live in '69. Okay, going on to the solo material. Paul Simon's supposed debut album worldwide, but it's actually the second album, as we know. Mother and Child Reunion, Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, things like Duncan, Run That Body Down, Peace Like a River is probably the most Simon Garfunkel type song. This is not as lush as Bridge Over Troubled Water. It's a little bit more edge to it, and this ultimately is my favourite Paul Simon solo album from '72. This is absolutely fantastic. From 1973, Art Garfunkel releases Angel Clare, and this is more lush, in line with the Bridge Over Troubled Water album, but this is probably one of his best as well. It has songs like Travelling Boy, All I Know, a version of Van Morrison's I Shall Sing, and Albert Hammond's Mary Was an Only Child. He also does Fail, which was demoed during the Bridge Over Troubled Water sessions. It's a good album. '73, There Goes Rhymin' Simon, and the hit in the UK on this was Take Me to the Mardi Gras. Its B-side was the hit in America, Kodachrome, another wonderful album. Acoustic guitar singing, little bits of gospel as well with Loves Me Like a Rock. American Tune is Just to Die For, and Tenderness is a real sort of slow 50s type number. It's beautiful. Great album. Was a Sunny Day. It's a very summery album, this, and I love it. There Goes Rhymin' Simon from '73. Okay. Live Ryman, Paul Simon in Concert from '74. Fantastic album. Absolutely adore this album. It starts off with just Paul with the acoustic guitar, and then comes in Urubamba, and then comes in the Jesse Dixon singers, and then it goes back to Paul with just the acoustic guitar. The version of The Boxer on this is absolutely amazing, and it's the first time you heard that extra verse, which doesn't really work whenever they did it in Central Park, but it works really well here because the instrumental part it replaces actually is featured on the end with pan pipes, and it's wonderful. Fantastic live album. Okay, two albums that came out around the same time, and that's Paul Simon's Still Crazy After All These Years and Art Garfunkel's Breakaway. Both feature the Simon Garfunkel single My Little Town. This one won a Grammy, I believe, in America. It has Still Crazy After All These Years on it, which is a great song. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, which is A wonderful intro, wonderful verses, and it's let down a little bit by a bit of a clunky chorus. Generally speaking though, this is not as good as the previous two albums. It gets slightly overrated. It's still a good album, but there's that electric piano that you would get mid-70s. It's starting to creep in this, and it's taken over from the acoustic guitar, and that's what lets this one down for me. Breakaway is one of Art's best, not quite as good as Angel Clare, but this does feature Albert Hammond's 99 Miles from LA and a fantastic version of I believe, what's it called? I Believe When I Fall in Love, the Stevie Wonder song, which is one of the best things he's ever did. Of course, it also features his #1 UK hit, I Only Have Eyes for You. Okay, Paul Simon's greatest hits. That's what it says on the tin, but there's a couple of American tunes, a different version on this. It's the live version. It's a good album. 1977, Art Garfunkel releases Watermark, and this is really a Jimmy Webb album, as most of them are written by Jimmy Webb. The highlights of this are Marionette, which I think is wonderful, What a Wonderful World, the Sam Cooke number, which was sung with Paul Simon and James Taylor. It's okay. We're getting into bland territory now with Art, and this is a little bit bland for me. 79, Fate for Breakfast, big #1 hit off it. Not in this copy actually, because this is an American version, but in the UK the big hit was Bright Eyes. This again is not a bad album. I prefer this to Watermark because of the song Beyond the Tears, which I think is beautiful, and Finally Found a Reason is pretty good. And he does a half decent version of Miss You Nights. 1980, Paul Simon releases One Trick Pony. Late in the Evening, fantastic. This is, I think, the first solo album I actually bought of his in 1981, and I didn't like it. I loved the Late in the Evening single, but the rest I thought was riddled with that 1970s sort of electronic style piano. And I thought it was a bit boring, but as time goes by, or as time has gone by, this has really gone up the rankings for me. I think this is a very strong album. Nobody's a beautiful song. How the Heart Approaches What It Yearns is excellent. Ace in the Hole is quite jazzy, and it's a really strong album. 1981, Art Garfunkel releases Scissors Cut, and this one features A Heart in New York, which they performed at Central Park. The rest of the album is not great at all. So 81. Then in 82 you have the live album from Central Park, which was recorded in 1981. I bought this in the week of its release, and this is the same copy, no barcode and so forth, so it's very old. Yeah, it's okay. I just think it's lifeless, to be quite honest with you. It's my least favourite of all their live albums, which brings me into this live album, which is probably my favourite from 2002, and this is Old Friends, and you get a DVD of the concert of this, and it is fantastic, and they really do concentrate on the Simon Garfunkel songs, not just the Paul Simon ones, the ones that they recorded as Simon Garfunkel, so you get quite a few off the Bridge Over Troubled Water. And it's hilarious to see that Art Garfunkel, he's so awkward looking if he's trying to have a good time or trying to dance, whereas Paul has got the grooves, man. But this is a fantastic CD. I would love this on vinyl, but it'll probably have to be stretched over a 3 vinyl set. It's quite long. Great album. 1983, Paul Simon releases Hearts and Bones, and this here didn't do too well for him at all. I liked it at the time, and it's regarded as one of his best now. I still think I prefer One Trick Pony now, although it does have songs like Hearts and Bones, Renee and Georgette Magritte with Their Dogs After the War, Think Too Much. I prefer the slow version of that to there's two versions, I prefer the slow one to the fast one, and Allergies, but it does have a couple of clunkers on it, like Cars Are Cars, which is rubbish. And I never really liked the late great Johnny Ace at all. I thought it was a very awkward song. Art Garfunkel releases this album in 1984, and this is like a greatest hits. This is a brilliant album, and if you're only ever going to buy one Art Garfunkel album, get this one. This features everything up to the scissors cut that's decent. Okay, we're flying through this. 85, Art Garfunkel and Amy Grant release. This is The Animals' Christmas, and this is another Jimmy Webb album. This is actually quite good. It's different. It's not your standard Christmas fare. I've only actually ever played it once because it's only recently I bought it, and I did enjoy it, so this will get a spin in a couple of months' time. So that was from 85. Then in 86 came Graceland, which we all know about. This is a classic album. Side 1's perfect. Side 2 does dip a little bit, but my highlights off this are The Boy in the Bubble. Graceland itself, Diamonds in the Soles of Our Shoes I got fed up with, but I'm actually quite like that again. And Homeless, excellent album. A Greatest Hits by Paul Simon again, 1971 to 86, Negotiations and Love Songs, good double album set. Yeah, although it doesn't have Take Me to the Mardi Gras, which is a shame, but it's still a good album. 1988 is Lefty by Art Garfunkel, and the only song I actually like off this is So Much in Love, which is an old 50s style doo-wop song. The rest of it's not up to much. This is a 50p album, a collection filler. 1990, and we have Rhythm and the Saints, and the way this album sounds is exactly what the title says. It's a rhythm album. It's very, very rhythmic. There's not that many melodies at all. Melodies at all. Obvious Child's a good single, and Born at the Right Time is excellent. But this is actually quite a good listen. I was a little bit disappointed at the start, but I do enjoy this now. Okay, let me see, where are we at? CD time. Paul Simon's live at Central Park. This is great. This is touring the Rhythm and the Saints album. Excellent. Art Garfunkel is another like greatest hits, but with a few new songs up until now. Not bad. Art Garfunkel again. Songs from a Parent to a Child. Again, this is not bad at all. He does a nice version of I Will, the Beatles song from the White Album. So that's from about 95, I think, or 97. Okay. 2000, Paul releases You're the One. This is a good album. Takes a bit of getting used to. Old is quite a good song, but my favourite by a mile on this is the first track, That's Where I Belong, which I think is absolutely beautiful. 97, sorry, I go a couple of years back. This is songs from the Cape Man. Yeah, this gets slagged off a lot. It's a musical show, really, but I think this is very melodic, and songs like Trailways Bus I think are absolutely wonderful, and that would have been a perfect Simon and Garfunkel song. Quality is a great little number. Satin Summer Nights is great. This is a good album, and I don't know why people don't like it. Okay, 2002, and we have Everybody Needs to Be Noticed, or Everybody Wants to Be Noticed, and this is Art Garfunkel with a couple of other people, Maria Sharp and Buddy Monlock. It's okay, it's not bad. I think it's saved a little bit with the other singers, because I find it difficult for Art to carry off a full album on his own. He gets a little bit bland. He's a lovely singer, but 2 or 3 songs and you've had enough. But it's okay, it's not a bad album. Okay, where are we? I'm getting all kerfuddled here. Surprise 2006, and the surprise in this is produced by Brian Eno, and it's quite experimental. How Can You Live in the Northeast is a really good song. Outrageous is a funky little number, and That's Me is an excellent song. Wartime Prayers. This is actually quite a good album. It just takes a few listens to, but it's probably his last half really decent album. Okay, 2007 Art Garfunkel releases this album of standards, Some Enchanted Evening, and it's boring. Sorry, it's not great at all. And then in 2011 Paul Simon releases So Beautiful or What. Yeah, this is not bad. Getting Ready for Christmas Day is a great single. Let's see what I can see here. Rewrite's a good song, but it's getting a little bit monotonous, and his vocals are starting to wear a little bit, and he's not getting quite as melodic as he was. It's still not a bad album, but it's not brilliant. And then he has a #1 hit with this album in 2016 called Stranger to Stranger, and I think this is awful. Things like Wristband and The Werewolf are terrible. There's nothing off this that jumps at me and says this is good. I think this is one of his worst albums. He's not singing, he's almost rapping the songs, because I think his voice is completely shot. But he got a #1 hit, which was nice. Then he releases this In the Blue Light in last year. And basically what this is re-recordings of some songs that he felt didn't get the recognition they deserved, and it's alright, but it's a bit pointless. And so the Essential Paul Simon, this is a good double CD. It's probably the best double CD you can get. Yeah, good album. I'm not too sure whether this was released about 2008 or something, or 2009, I'm not sure. But another double LP, which is probably an excellent one, is this one here, and you can still get this. I bought this, I think, in Tesco's, and this covers Paul Simon's solo and the Simon Garfunkel material. This is an excellent album, and it also has The Only Living Boy in New York on it, which is an added bonus. So that's my Paul Simon. It took a while to do, but there's quite a bit there. Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel collection, including their solo work. So that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. Okay, now, all the best. Bye bye.